Welcome back to Trading Day at 11 minutes past the hour. Well, Viralytics has announced one of the biggest capital raisings of the past year, planning to raise around $27 million to fund clinical trials for its Cavitac cancer treatment. For more, we are joined by Viralytics CEO Malcom McColl. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Malcom McColl. We do appreciate it. First of all, I want to ask you about the appetite you've experienced following this capital raising. Were people keen to get in?
Look, it's been very positive. I mean, I guess the share price has been tracking around about that 31 cents, which we really expected after with an announcement of this sort of type. But really, the response has been very positive from both the biotech sector and from analysts, from the stockholders that I've spoken to, because they see this capital raising as being really transformational for our business to enable us to move forward over the next 3 years and have security of funding to conduct the sorts of clinical trials we need to really push the company forward to a major transaction.
Let's talk a little bit more about these clinical trials. What exactly do they involve, and what's the expected outcome?
Well, we'll have 3 clinical trials funded by this capital raising. They'll all be conducted in the Northern Hemisphere, in the United States and in the United Kingdom, really at the best possible sites with the best possible clinicians. And that's very important, because the aim at the end of the day is to do a pharmaceutical transaction, and of course operating in those sort of markets really does give us the maximum amount of credibility. The lead studies are really in melanoma, which I'm sure you're aware is a very serious type of skin cancer, and we're looking at late stage patients there with very serious illness, and to date the results have been very promising. So
what does the treatment do for those late stage patients?
Well, this is actually a virus that we're using. So the virus is injected into the tumour. It replicates or multiplies within the tumour, causes destruction of the cancer, and then can also cause destruction of the tumour at other sites in the body. So we've seen really very promising results. And I guess also with this particular virus, we're not seeing any nasty sort of adverse effects, or it's been very well tolerated by patients, which is also a big positive for us.
Fantastic. Raising cash, are you just doing that in Australia, or doing that elsewhere as well?
So the primary research is being done in Australia, but all of the clinical trial work is being done in the northern hemisphere, in the US.
But the capital raising, is that just available to Australian investors, or have offshore ones taken that up as well?
No, sorry, I beg your pardon. No, the capital raising has been primarily through funds out of the US and UK, so San Francisco, Boston, New York and London. There also has been involvement by funds in Sydney, though, but the lion's share is coming out of the Northern Hemisphere. Very sophisticated institutional investors.
Do you think it's hard to raise funds for biotech treatments or tests here in Australia? I know some of the other CEOs of other biotech companies have complained that the Australian market is a difficult one to try and please in this respect.
I think that's right. I mean, it's simply because of the pool of funds available in Australia. There's a much smaller pool of funds. I mean, when you go to the US, though, to be really frank, of course, you're dealing with many more biotechs. So when you meet with these big funds, you're really one of as many of sort of 8 or 10 funds they would meet companies they would meet on a day-to-day basis. So it's much more competitive. There's much more money available. But I think when you've got a good story, good track record, clinical results, and the potential for a really, major sort of product at the end of the day, as we have with our Cavitac, then there is obviously interest from US and UK investors. Talk us through the timeline now. What's next, and how long will it take? Well, we'll have results flowing through over the next 3 years. I mean, in the next 6 months, we'll have important data out of our existing melanoma study. We've already had success in that study. We've met the primary endpoint, but we'll continue to generate data. And that's really the key point here, I think, that if you want to do a transaction with a pharmaceutical company, you need a lot of data. The funding we have now will enable us to run these clinical studies. There's 3 studies, generate the data, bring pharmaceutical companies to the table, and then do the best possible transaction for Viralytics shareholders. Fantastic. It's exciting work, Dr. Malcom McColl from Viralytics. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and keep us updated. Oh, thanks so much. Really appreciate speaking to you this afternoon. Thanks so much. Okay, time.